What is up, Believe Nation and Evan Carmichael? Evan, I've been using your content for years.
What's up, Believe Nation? It's Evan.
Welcome to Exponential Opportunities, where we deliver smart business growth advice from the best hustlers around. I'm Jason Tropf, and today I have on the program Evan Carmichael. His YouTube channel has 1 million subscribers. He was recognized by Forbes as one of the world's top 40 social marketing talents. By age 19, he built and sold a biotech software company, and by 22, a venture capitalist raising up to $15 million. You can find him on Inc. magazine, listed among the 100 great leadership speakers for your next conference. Inc. magazine also recognized him as one of the 25 social media keynote speakers that you need to know. He's a contributing guest writer for Entrepreneur.com with over a dozen articles on how to succeed. He now runs EvanCarmichael.com and provides advice to small business owners, and the author of the book about business leadership titled Your One Word.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be here. This is my first Hangout since hitting 1 million subscribers, so I'm jazzed about that. I've got a new friend with me. His name is Jason. He has a YouTube channel called The Growth Playbook, and he has some pretty inspiring goals that he's set for this year and next year, and he wanted to do an interview, and I said, hey, let's do it. Let's make it a YouTube Hangout too, so he can ask whatever questions he has. You guys can benefit from it as well. Jason, welcome aboard, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Evan. Yeah, I've been inspired by your channel for a long time now, and I think that you've dug into some of the biggest business builders in history, and put them out there for everybody and for myself to learn from. And my goal with my family business, that you can see here in the background, is to grow it by 10x, and that sounds egotistical to say it out loud. When I hear it come out of my lips, I stopped myself from saying that for a long time. Like, I just recently was like, fuck it, I'm going to say it out loud. So the reason I think that's possible is, one, I have more leverage than I would on my own, because I'm using my family to forward this. And number two, the way that he grew it in the first place into 81 franchise locations was word of mouth and personal interactions. And that is so scalable online now that I really do believe that we can do this. This is really something I think is real. So, I wanted to get your take on what you would do if you're in my shoes. So my shoes specifically are helping other businesses grow by, doing our service. Our flagship service is direct mail advertising, and most of our clients are local businesses, and our franchisees are also a local business. And I think this is helpful and useful to put out there for other people to see, because most people are sort of in the same position where it's just you, and you have to do all your outreach all yourself. And, you have to kind of manage so many things. So, some of the things that are kind of dreamy that you would do online are time consuming, and there's no return on it right away, which is obviously why a lot of people get hung up. So what would you do if you were in my shoes?
Yeah, so I divide it into two things: mindset and then tactics. A lot of people jump into tactics, and then they're just looking for ways that it's not going to work out. Like, you could say, hey, a tactic is start a YouTube channel, have a YouTube show, get interviews on, build up an audience there, build exposure and branding for your company. And somebody would try it, and it wouldn't work out perfectly the first time, and then they say, this doesn't work for me. Because they're looking for no's. They're looking for reasons why it's not going to work out, right? And every time you try something new, you expect to suck at it, expect it not to work out perfectly, and you're gonna have to make adjustments. And so before getting into tactics, the most important thing is the mindset. Even as you started this program, you said, I was afraid to say it out loud. I used to swallow these words, and I felt it to myself, but now I'm like, just F it, I'm gonna say it. That's a mindset shift. That, like, growing a business by 10x is something to be proud of. And it's not just an egotistical thing, but it's something I want to do. It's something that I'm proud of. I'm going to put my goal out there, and I'm going to work every day towards accomplishing it. Most of the time, the person in our lives that holds us back from doing the thing that we want to do is not our parents, it's not our friends, it's ourselves. It's ourselves. Like, we tell ourselves that we can't be successful. We have these dreams at 2 a.m. of like, this big vision to build my company up. And then you wake up the next day, it's like, I can't do that. Come on, that was a stupid idea. You don't even have to tell your friends. So that's the first hurdle. It's just the mindset, just the belief that you can. Like, you came on and you ended with, I believe that I can do this. Instilling that belief in others is the first important step. Because until they get that belief system, then they're not gonna they're not going to make a change. And so if I were you and I have these people who are following me and some customers and some prospects, I'd be looking at how can I tell my story and how you've overcome that feeling of I'm not good enough and I can't see this out loud and don't think of me as an egomaniac, to now being proud and boastful and like I'm going to go off and do this, not to put anybody else down, but just because I want to make more. I want to provide more for this world. How do you transfer that journey that you've gone on into the minds of other people so that everybody who's following you has that similar mindset shift? Because once you decide I am going to grow my business 10x, then the tactics almost don't matter. Like you'll figure out a way to do it because you've made the decision to do it. So whatever your journey was, whether it was reading books, watching videos, going to events, being mentored, having Skype calls with people, like whatever the thing was that helped transition you, I'd be looking at that same kind of thing. How can I inspire the people who I'm working with so that they start having that belief system? Because a lot of people don't have a great environment. A lot of people don't wake up thinking they can go and conquer the day. So, and it's from like decades of conditioning. So how can you now be that inspiration, that source of change? I mean, it's what I try to do on my channel every day. I make YouTube videos to inspire people to believe in themselves because I want to help people, but I need it for myself too. Like I watch the videos for myself. I need to be around Steve Jobs and Elon Musk so that I don't just coast on where I am now and feel like I still got a lot more to go.
Yeah. You know what? That's funny you say that. I started messing around with some videos myself, and I was looking for a lot of good quotes to put them in there. And I was originally doing it as like a little marketing video. And while I was doing it, it started to make me feel better. And I was like, this is incredible. Like the things that you have to hear them over and over again. Right. And it's like, you know, some of them like were inspired by what you do, you know? So I started putting like, because the feeling that is generated from the video you want, even if it's a marketing video, like if you say Nike, right, it's still what they are doing is, you know, it doesn't work for, I've done other things where you just say, oh, you're talking about Facebook. That's so boring. But like Nike doesn't talk about the shoes. They talk about, you know, being inspired and just do it. Right. And so, you know, it was kind of around that. And I was getting all those inspirational quotes together, and they started ringing around in my head for days and days and days, because it was hours and hours and hours of listening to it in my head. And that was such a mind shift that just kind of happened by accident in itself, that like I really started paying attention to your channel after that. Really started paying attention to what was happening between my ears. It was like a big shift. And you know, that's part of where I got that. You know, admit what it is that you really want to do and go after it out loud. I think that is, you're right. It's very important.
It's hard to watch and consume content from Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey and like titans who are really pushing the boundary. It's hard to be around them on a consistent basis and not do bigger things yourself and not have some of that confidence burst into yourself.
Yeah.
Where if you're just around negative people who have no dreams and like are not chasing and just complaining, that's what you're going to be too. You're going to just be a complainer who never actually goes after their dreams. And so changing your environment around and your habits and routine is super important. I would say though, like, so for you, if you're trying to inspire, how many businesses do you want to help?
100. And that I put that goal in my head a year ago, and it didn't happen. So I mean, it's like, I'm keeping it. I'm going to give it another year.
So you want to help 100 businesses 10x in 2018.
I don't know if 10x that wasn't it. That would be fantastic, but really it's just help them grow, help them overcome some kind of obstacle that is stopping them from growing. Like for instance, here's one of our clients has franchised himself. He was a solo contractor and he's franchised himself 59 times. So that took him 5 years. So he really did 10x himself without my help. But he is a client of ours in the first place he was, and now all of his franchises use our marketing services. So like it sort of did do that on now, like kind of organically. But just for an example, it could 10x somebody. If that's what they want to do, I could totally help them do that. That's not our service, but that would be an example of doing that. But you know, regardless of like what feels right about it is, rather than I need to go make this many contacts so that I can close this percentage of them that become conversions, and that's my sales goals for the year. This is a completely different way of looking at it. and I'm not sure where I picked it up, but it shifted everything. Your book, your one word,
Yeah.
definitely helped me find out what this is. But so my word was growth, and
Nice.
I didn't really think of it that way until your book pointed it out, and I was already using it a lot, but I didn't really connect to it like that. And then it cleared it up. It just made it real crystal clear. And so helping 100 businesses grow was I think, first baby step into, I don't care if that is a converted sale. It just means if I help them grow, that matters. That's the part that matters. If I did converted sale and it did not help them grow, it didn't matter. That's
right. Now, but you already have a marketing system that can help businesses grow, correct?
Right.
So the tactics you already have, like, here's a proven tactic. I can maybe do it from YouTube. Like, hey, here's how you build a YouTube channel to help your business. But you have a tactic that already works. It's worked for lots of businesses. And now you're trying to increase the number of people you can help. So all your work is just on the mindset. You just need to get people prepared in the mindset to apply the tactic and stick with it. Right? Be open to it and say yes, look for yeses and stick with it. So your challenge is just, how do I get people into a growth mindset?
Yeah, totally. And even when, like, I know some of the guys in our network, they might or might not hear or watch this. But what I want is, do you know who Salim Ismail is? He has a book called Exponential Organizations.
Okay.
He came from Yahoo as a, he had a growth team in there of some sort, and went out on his own with Peter Diamandis. He was one of the co-founders for that the university that they have. It's the do you know what I'm talking about? It's
but it's okay.
Okay, well, anyway, he takes apart businesses and says that the ingredients to make them exponential from a legacy company is to kind of digitize them. And so that is my hurdle right now. Trying to digitize this company is it's sort of a million nooks and crannies is what it is. So that part right there is sort of being formulated in real time to sort of like kind of it's like reinventing what we do offline online, and it's not as cut and dry as you would imagine. It's not like, oh, let's just turn on some internet marketing and do the same thing that we were doing over here. It's like a different animal.
Sure. So and listen, you have to keep working on your tactics. You have to keep improving, whether you're moving people to Facebook ads or YouTube videos or whatever. Like, we can dive into tactics if you want. What I would love for you is to be known as Jason, the growth guy. Like, every time I leave a conversation with Jason, I feel like I want to grow everywhere. Like, I'm just fired up, whether it's an hour-long seminar with you or a 5-minute phone call introduction, or like, Jason, I just need 5 minutes of your time to help me with this situation I'm dealing with. I get off every interaction with Jason feeling ready to grow. Yeah, and so thinking about how do you apply that to everything you're doing? Like, so you're doing a podcast, you have a YouTube channel, you're sending out direct mail or mails to the people in your network, emails. Like, what does your signature look like? What does your website look like? Do I hit your website and feel like I want to grow? Like, I want to know who this Jason guy is. I want to connect with him. For the people who already have a tertiary connection to you somehow, like they're a lead or they're a friend of a lead or somebody, like, those are the people you want to bring in, because your customers have such a great experience with you that they're going to tell everybody about, like, just being around you, they've changed. And people see the change. They're like, what happened to you? Like, man, I've been hanging around this Jason guy and just, I'm growing, right? But it's like, don't laugh. Like, it's serious. Like, being around you will make people want to grow. And if somebody's growing, they're going to tell people about it. And so I would use a mix of the sources that get you pumped up, like whether it's quotes that you pull off Instagram, whether it's videos on my channel or somebody else's channel, like you make a Jason playlist, and once a week you're firing it off to the people in your network and say, hey, here's what I learned from this video, go check it out, as well as your own story, because people are learning from you. And a big mistake I made early on was I felt like, who am I compared to Steve Jobs? Like, nobody wants to hear my story. Yeah. They want to hear Steve Jobs' story. But especially for people who are going to be clients of you, your personal story means a lot. And how you shifted your perspective of being afraid to say, I want to grow my company 10x to now, like, boastfully going after your goal is inspiration for people. And so I think that mix of tactics that you're using, strategies that you have, answering questions on your own from people who are coming in who are prospects, and sharing and DJing content that you find valuable, helpful, has made a shift in you, then that's your constant output to the people in your network. And the people will resonate with it. And you become the source of inspiration for them. And like, I want to grow like Jason. Like Jason always has this growth mindset. I need that. I need that in my business. I need that in my life. And they'll take it. Like if they keep digesting Jason over and over and over again and what you like, they're going to grow. And you'll hit more than 100 businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I was wondering, I know that you have a lot of videos on how you grew your YouTube channel, but I was curious, how much do you think had to do with like, you know, what do they call it? Early, you know, being early in it.
Zero.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could start it up right now and get to where I'm at really quick.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There's always room for quality at the top. There is always room for quality. The biggest thing was I sucked at the beginning. It wasn't that I was early. I wasn't even that early. I mean, compared to other people who were already up, I just sucked. I wasn't great. Go back and look at my videos and I'm super boring.
I saw your first ones. I can't believe you left them up. I loved that they were there. The information was totally legit. It was good, but you were so uncomfortable.
Boring.
You were on suit and tie. Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's what tie, exactly. But that's why I left it up. It's like the journey, my journey, right? Yeah. It's like I'm just a normal guy. You're more personable already than I was when I first started. It has nothing to do with how. I'm sure you've seen it too. Like new people who come into the industry, they could replace somebody who's been doing it for decades, just because like they have the hustle and drive and they want to get better. Yeah. There's always room for quality. Like you could start right now on YouTube and just crush it if you were good. The problem is most people aren't good when they start, and you have to put in the reps to get really good. But I look at my channel, I've passed people who've been around for way longer than me, and also people who are considered to be better than me as a speaker and as creating content, just because like it's understanding the YouTube algorithm, dedicating myself to making this thing work. And I attribute zero. Like if I wanted to go crush Instagram, like I'm doing almost nothing on Instagram. I have maybe 5,000 followers. I could go crush Instagram right now. It's not too late. Yeah, it's just not my focus.
Yeah. So you're on the Forbes list. How did you get on the Forbes list? What was it that poked through to the Forbes?
I don't know, man. Like, no, honestly, like I didn't. It was never a goal to be on the Forbes list. I forget which list. It's like influential social media people or social leadership speaker. It's something like, I don't even know. Yeah. Listen, I'm flattered. It's a great honor. It's amazing. But none of that was with intention to try to get on any kind of list. My business model is entirely premised on me creating a lot of noise in my industry, kicking up a ton of dust, and then opportunities come and find me. Things that I never expected. You know, how did this happen? I mean, you reached out to my team somehow, and here we are doing a hangout. Like all of my stuff is inbound. There's nothing that's going out besides content. Like marketing is going out, value is going out, and then stuff comes into me. The book deal, right? How did I get Penguin Random House to do a book deal? Why do I get Sage want to do brand deals with me, or Microsoft, or big companies? Why do companies ask me to join their boards of directors? It's not because I'm, you know, I don't have like insane talent. It's just I put out a lot of marketing and people find me and opportunities happen. So Forbes, Inc., other reports, you know, it all happens. Yeah. Because I do the thing that I'm great at. Do you advertise your channel, or is it it's no, all my fans advertise, like the content, the where you create the content is also the distribution, right? Like if you're doing direct mail, you have to create the content and then you have to mail it out. Right. You have to pay for the post office or whoever to like send it out, hire some kid to like slap your signs up somewhere. YouTube is a distribution. You make a video, you put it on YouTube, it distributes itself if it's good and you're consistent. Yeah, right. So that's the biggest challenge. Like most people who are starting, if you have 5 videos up, chances are those 5 videos, they're just not very good yet. It's okay. You just got to keep grinding. Yeah. But no, advertising has not helped. I haven't been able to prove a model to convert advertisement dollars into subscribers. You can buy views, but it won't help you really. If you're just looking for general awareness, maybe. but that's a hard case for an entrepreneur. We don't want general awareness. We want conversions. Like
right.
my money has to count for something. It's not just general branding.
Yeah.
And also even collaborations. Like when I collaborate with somebody else, it's just nowhere nearly as effective as me just making more content for my own channel.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love the collaborations. So it's fun to do, but it's not in terms of like just strategy and business growth. It's nothing compared to just making better content for my own channel.
Okay. So mindset is one thing for sure. And I'm still trying to master that whole thing. I think that the self-awareness sort of kick that Gary Vaynerchuk has been on also pounded it into my head. I know you watch a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk. I saw you interview him. That was awesome. And then the other thing is skill set, right? There's, the mindset has to stay there long enough for you to get the skill set. But what would you say is the skill set that, have you noticed anything you think I should be focusing on as a skill set?
I think you have to do you, and that comes from the self-awareness part. So there's a lot of different ways to grow. So I have focused mostly on YouTube. It's where I just enjoy YouTube the most. I enjoy making video. I'd much rather do a video than write a long form interview or piece of content.
Yeah. Right.
It's me. Some people are terrified of being video and they just much rather write, and they're wordsmiths and they create great content that way. So I'm all in on YouTube. I think it's a great matchup of everything that I love doing and where my audience is. For you, it's figuring out what you love doing. If you love being in front of a camera, then YouTube could be a great home. If you want to get on and do quick 30 minutes or 30-second like motivational bursts of you working out and like screaming a message, like grow, or like go to Instagram. Like just knowing the kind of content that you want to make, that not even that you're really good at yet, but that you could become really great at. You have a passion to do it. Like if you want to do these kinds of interviews, you're going to do half-hour interviews with people around growth, and you're going to bring on some of your heroes to do interviews with. It's really hard to do that in an Instagram setting or a LinkedIn setting or a Twitter setting, right? It's like you're leaning towards YouTube. If you love the short version videos and you want to put some motivational music behind them, and that's the thing that gets you all jazzed up, YouTube is not a great place for that. Like your videos will go down ranked. It's not the place to be right now. You want to go to Instagram, potentially Twitter. So just understanding what you like making and then finding a platform that best lines up with that could be great. Maybe you love just podcasting. Like I don't have a podcast. Podcasting could blow up my world. I don't want to do a podcast. Like I still have tons of growth left on YouTube. That's where I'm focused right now. But it doesn't mean I'll be YouTube forever. Like in 5 years, I might be doing VR. We'll be doing the VR show. Jason and Evan on VR. We're going door to door interviewing people or something. Who knows where it's going to go. I'm not limited to only doing this for the rest of my life. But I go all in on the things that I find connect with me best. And so you can have tons of success totally ignoring YouTube forever, but you better be going off and doing something. So if you like to write, you do one thing. If you like interviews, you do one thing. If you like short things, you do one thing. It's just figuring out your style. And you may not know. So at the beginning, you try everything until you get the sense of what you like doing. But if you love this kind of thing, interviews with people, talking about growth, then you're looking at YouTube or you're looking at a podcast.
Okay. So I noticed you kind of said you're focusing on one, and would you say that that's essential? Focus on one channel and not try to you're maintaining other channels. I see you on like Instagram, but your focus is here. You're not blowing up over there. You're just kind of, I think, maintaining. But is that what you think is the best play for anybody? I
think especially at the beginning, you need to focus on one. Just because here's what most people do. They get their handle, right? Like you're trying to get your name on all these accounts because it's tough and they're all taken. You're not going to get at Jason anywhere. So you got to be creative. Yeah. And then if you try to post to 20 different social accounts at the same time, on top of running your business, you're going to post crap.
Yeah. Right.
It's just not going to be good. It's just going to be marketing. It's just going to be, hey, I have a house showing today, or come out and check out my whatever, blast it across all your channels in the same format. And nobody's going to really pay attention, and you're not going to take off. Yeah. So I think the best thing is figure out the one that you can really dominate in, go all in on that, and see if it's working for you, you're getting results. And then you can start to expand. Just like it's not just social. If you're launching a company and you're trying to sell 50 different products at the same time, you're going to suck at all of them. Like you're not going to you're not going to do a great job with any of them. And so find like the one product, launch with that. And then as it's making money, you can then build up different products, build your team, right? It's not just me on my YouTube channel anymore. I have a team. Like there's 8 of us just on the YouTube side. And so that frees up my time to do other things. But I think when you're starting out, pick the one that's the best fit for you and go all in on that.
Yeah, there was another thing about that. That's good input. I appreciate that. That definitely clears some things up for me. But there was another thing about it where there's like this weird balance or lack of balance most people I think struggle with, including myself, between your personal life and your professional life, and like where the line blurs and gets unprofessional. And a lot of people just bail out and just try not to exist online. Just can't find me, or make it private. But I'm trying to find it like the real. There's nothing I should be embarrassed about, but I don't want to be like one of those, multi-level, when someone picks up one of those multi-level things and now they're going to sell it to all their friends. I'm not that. I don't want to ever be that guy, but I do. What's that?
Your aversion to being that guy will mean you'll never be that guy. You just won't. But it doesn't mean you should not share anything, because the personal connection to you is what's going to actually get people to take action. The people who love your message, not just the quote you're sharing from Steve Jobs or whatever, like they love your message, they're going to want to take action because they love Jason, because that's growth to them. And so like you have a responsibility to share more of you if you want people to grow. And it doesn't mean like you're sitting on the can and you're like, hey guys, look at this. And right, it's like you just figure out where your boundaries are, and also like the people in your life. So, my wife is always happy to be on anything I'm doing. She's upset when you can't see her face when I'm doing my live streams. But my parents don't want to be involved in any online. Like they're more private, and so they're on my wall. Like those are my parents and me when I'm 8 years old, and belief comes from them. And I'll share a couple stories about them, but for filming and other things, like they're not, you never see them on my channel.
Yeah.
And so figuring that out, like you don't want to do your thing that hurts somebody else, but by the same token, like sharing your life, being a little bit vulnerable, showing more of your personality, like that's how you win. Because I want to learn from Jason, like the real Jason. Your humanness will connect me to you, not your corporate BS, like everything is PR driven garbage, right?
Yeah.
So you need to show more of you to be able to get people to where you want them to go.
Totally. I totally agree. I think I grew sick of that myself, which is what kind of led me off in this direction. I think that people kind of coming out of like nowhere and having something that you want to like connect with started to change my mind about, branding. There's just so much like faceless logo stuff that I just don't, who cares? Like, I don't really actually care. Nobody really actually does care. I don't know how, you have companies like Nike, they're a brand, they're a swoosh, but really when you think of Nike, you think of, you think of the athletes that kind of talk for them, really, because you don't think of Nike. So I don't know. That's another thing. That's another thing about this. Not everybody's going to go out there and put their face out there like that, or want to have their personality out there, or want to, write about their personal life. But they're still business owners and they still want to grow. And what would you do? What would you say to somebody who's wants to grow their local spa?
I think the why is super important. I think the connection to this is your superpower as an entrepreneur. Why am I going to go to your no-name spa instead of going to this big franchise across America spa that I know I can get reputable service from and I've been to 100 times before, right? So usually it's only because of price. Like the small guy will charge less, so I'm going to go there. That's the last thing you want to compete on as an entrepreneur is price. So why would I pay more to go to your spa versus some giant corporation that has 1,000 spas across America? It's you, it's your story, it's the why. Because I feel like when I come to you, I'm not just a number. Like you actually care about me. And so you don't need, if you're a spa owner, you don't need to have daily Snapchat stories of you picking up your daughter from school and saying how great life is, or what you ate for lunch. Like you can go that deep if you want, but the most important video or piece of content I would recommend for every entrepreneur is tell your story, the why. Like, why did you start a spa? And it better be for an important reason, not, oh, I read Inc. magazine and it said hottest company in 2018 was spa. So that's why, like you're going out of business anyway. Your story won't save you. But like, if you have a passion for what you're doing, like you really care about your clients, there's a deep story that comes from that. And so sharing that story, ideally on video, even if you suck, like you don't have to be a great communicator. They're not expecting, if you want a spa, they're not expecting you to be able to speak like a great speaker, a CNN host or somebody, they just want to hear the passion come out. And so the most successful entrepreneurs have a deep passion for what they do. And you need to find a way to communicate that to your potential customers. I'm not even talking about building a social media audience, just somebody coming to your website. I want to see a smiling picture of you, at least. If you can't do video, then a picture of you and a written story that's not corporate BS, because that's how you're going to win. People feel that connection, like I actually care. Like if I go there, I'm going to get treated like that person really cares about me and not just a number when I go to McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you say, like, let's say now I'm imagining our franchisees. So they're not very active online. They've been doing this for a long time. And, I'm kind of on the other side of the fence from that, going like, oh guys, look how much is going on over here. You just aren't seeing it because you're not looking. And, I want to tell them the best, most realistic way for them to get a quick win. And I know that's a ridiculous thing to think of, like a quick win, but the first thing in should be something that makes them want to keep going. Not like, now go create an entire like persona on the internet. Don't do that. But I mean, like something that's like, get in here. This is how you locate the people you want to know. And now put yourself in front of them. Like, what would you say to people like that?
So I think if you're in a franchise model, they're buying into a system, right? They don't want to do this on their own. That's why they're hiring you. You're there to tell them how to be successful. And the best franchisees are the ones who actually listen, right? Yeah. You have lots of people who think it's going to be easy and you press a few buttons and boom, you're taking off. But that's not the case in any business. But they're buying from you and working with you because you're giving them a system. And so what you need to figure out is what's a system. So you need to lead by example. Like, here's how I do it. Here's how I go out and close these sales. Follow me, Jason, on whatever, Twitter, YouTube, whatever you're doing. Here's an example. Showing off the wins that come from your best franchisees who are doing it. And like a weekly email or a weekly video that goes out to everybody to say, hey, here's what Jim from Arkansas is doing on Twitter. What a great example. Congrats, Jim. Keep it up. And like you break it down, his steps, so that you're always learning. There's always best practices going out. But that's, you have a bigger advantage than most in trying to influence people because you have people who are paying you every month. They bought into a franchise and you're supposed to give them the system. So the best people who sign up for you are looking for advice and guidance, where a lot of entrepreneurs listening just to a consultant or a coach or somebody, the commitment isn't there as much. Right. The trick with it in franchises is trying to figure out how can we keep the identity of the franchise, like our franchise stands for this, the corporate entity stands for this, and making sure that the individuals still have a voice, but isn't conflicting with what the franchise stands for. Yeah. So bringing on people who have the same mission as what the franchise stands for, and then allowing them to have their voice. A lot of people in franchises, you look at their website sucks. Like their website is just whatever the franchise gave them, right? So like, if I were you, I would mandate like everybody has to have their story. So on the website, whether you're giving them their own website that is just templated or they're going off and making their own website, you have to have a picture, a smiling picture of yourself that looks, semi-professional. You're not there in your undershirt, with a ball pack or something. And then your story, like why you signed up for this, why this is so important to you. Yeah. I would make that mandatory. And then for all the other things, it's you figuring out like what is working yourself personally. And because it's always evolving, like direct mail, you figure it out. You've been doing it for however many years. You know the game. You know what works, headlines, frequency, offers, call to actions, all that stuff. Like you could write the manual on that. A lot of this other stuff is still evolving. It's still happening. It's still brand new. So maybe you talk to me, you get an idea for YouTube and you test it and it works. Or maybe you have me come in and talk to the audience and you do like a monthly hangout or Skype call with the members and they pick up different ideas. you have to be a learning organization if you're trying to get into new areas of marketing and different ways to grow your business, because marketing is always evolving.
Right.
So that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think that like I kind of get excited about spending my time on the fringes, like kind of figuring things out, but it makes me look kind of like I like don't get anything done to some people, because it's a lot of like, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that won't work, that you know, so it looks like you don't do anything that works. But sometimes I hit one, I'm like, that is working, and that's how we're going to use like this particular way. And then I get one, and it might take, you know, months of trial and error, but then there's that one, and that line stays in, and then I get to go and move to a different one. I get excited about that kind of stuff.
And you need to get the permission to have that air cover. Like if it's a family business and it's your dad saying, listen, none of the things you do work, this is a waste of money. You need to like, or whoever it is, like that's pressuring you that, listen, Jason, like you're wasting your time on this. You need to get the air cover from them to say, this is like, you want me in this business. This is what I'm going to do. We're going to find the thing that's really going to explode, because direct mail is a great strategy, but it's not the future. And we need to find that future if our company is still going to be around in 50 years. And that's what I'm trying to build. I want a lasting legacy for our great grandkids. And this is part of that process. So you need to back off and give me air cover to make this work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very well said, man. I felt like you read my mind a little bit. There's a lot of these, there's other agencies. So we like, you know, rather than try to claim we can do something, I like to find a white label or an agency who's already, you know, doing a very good job. And I find even a lot of the guys that are out there claiming they're good at this, like digital marketing, are full of hot air. If you look at their, let's say a Facebook agency, for example, and then you look at their own Facebook page and they have like 48 followers, you're like, how are you going to go sell, you know, that you're a master at, you know, generating attention in Facebook when you have none? Like,
sure, but it's the same thing in your industry. There's a lot of guys who could say, hey, I can help you with direct marketing, and have done no campaigns in their life. Like that's why there's always room for quality at the top, dude. Right. In any industry, there's always room for quality, because most industries are filled with mediocrity or worse.
Right.
So yeah, like I'm not surprised, but you'll get that in any industry. There's a bunch of car people who will sell you junk cars and suck. Like there's a bunch of real estate agents who have never sold a house, and they tell themselves that they're a real estate agent, and they'll provide the best service. You know, like every industry is mostly riddled with crap. So you have a chance to win.
Yeah. There was another thing I saw that was like bots, like 48% of the internet activity is bots. 48% of internet activity. That made me feel like 48% of my advertising dollars are actually just being stolen. And I see on Instagram sometimes that, you know, see someone with 1 million followers, and if you go dig down and then you look in all these comments, it's like people from speaking different languages that he obviously speaks, tagging all these other people to make them look at something. And it's I don't know like what to make of that. Like, oh, do that because it works? No, I'm not going to do that, because I wouldn't put on my own. I wouldn't want. I feel like I like to think of it that way. If I wouldn't put that on my own, so like my brothers, you know, and my people that know me are going to see what I'm doing, it's embarrassing. I'm not going to do that for anybody else.
Yeah, I think you have, if I were you, I'd have two options. One, to just master something and just be the guy at it and learn everything I could, so that I could teach that to the people on my team. That would be my plan B. My plan A would be to just be dangerous enough at everything to be able to spot the scammers and understand who the people are who actually know what they're talking about. And then how can I leverage their expertise to help grow my business? So instead of you being the expert at YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and all that, just know enough to be dangerous so that you could bring in the expert to create a strategy that helps you and the people on your team, or you have a monthly hangout or Skype call or conference or whatever, that you're bringing the people who really know what they're talking about and are playing at the fringe. Like I could come in and drop YouTube strategy all day long that would blow people away. But if you asked me to do the same thing on LinkedIn, I couldn't give you the super ninja strategies, because I'm not really playing in that space. I could give you high level overview stuff, but you don't want that from me. Like you want the guy who's going to come in and just rock everybody away and say, you want to blow up on LinkedIn? Like these 5 things for the next 6 months, go do that. And so if I were you, I try to just be good enough to know enough that you can not be BS'd into certain things. Like I have 1 million Instagram followers. Yeah, but I see how you did that. Like you can see through the BS. And then you find the talent and bring them on board to help give you the strategy and the people on your team the strategy to really build up.
Yeah, good. So YouTube's your expertise, and I don't know how long you have to do this. You can go if you need to go. We can cut it after. But like if you were gonna tell me how to use YouTube and find the right person to incorporate YouTube as one of our marketing services, what would you say you would do? What would you do for clients for YouTube?
Yeah, I got to pop up, but let me answer that quickly. If I were you, in terms of now I'm trying to build attention and support my team, I would be looking at how can I make at least 3 videos a week that are 10 minutes long, that have a mix of lessons that I've learned, if you're using a different clip or a quote or something from a book or whatever, combined with your own thoughts, that you can be a consistent force for growth for the people who end up following your channel. And I don't even necessarily care about becoming a 1 million subscriber channel. What I care about is I'm targeting a niche group of people. And if I have 500 people following me who are all customers or potential customers, that more than achieves my goal of me being able to actually directly impact those 100 people in the business. So in 2018, be looking at least 3 videos a week, 10 minutes plus, combination of your expertise and things that are inspiring you.
That sounds great, man. I appreciate it, Evan. Thanks for meeting me, man. I'll let you go.
Thanks for the time, Jason. Good luck, man. I'm excited to hear your story in 2018.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man. I'll get back in touch. Thanks.
All right. Cheers, man.
All right.
Believe.
Bye-bye. I will.